I just read an article about bipolar disorder, and it goes into the various types. There's four different types. The two that I can remember are bipolar 1 and bipolar 2, and I'm pretty sure I have bipolar 1, which means there's manic episodes, and uh, so, um, and then there's hypomanic episodes. I think it's hypomania for bipolar 2, but bipolar 1 seems to be more severe, just more extreme lows and highs. And one of the things that'll happen while having a bipolar, like a manic episode, is racing thoughts, and there's delusional thinking sometimes, and paranoia. I mean, I've experienced paranoia and delusional thinking before in the past. Um, but now it seems when I have an episode, it's less often mania. I mean, occasionally that'll happen where I'll talk quickly and I'll talk fast and things like that, or have some hyper energy. But I spend most of my time with depression, and it sounds like from what I've heard that depression is more common. I mean, depression happens more frequently than mania for most people with bipolar. It sounds like. So I know that's true for me. Most of the time, I'm depressed, and it seems like most of the time there's some low level depression there. I know socializing, getting out and doing things helps. So, just one of the things that's hard to do when a person is depressed is to feel the motivation to do anything. Really, like get out of the house, clean up your place, your apartment, or your house, or whatever. I mean, it can be so overwhelming, the depression, that it really paralyzes some people. I mean, it can with me. Some people might let their hygiene slide. That's one thing with me. I shower every day and I'm very clean. But I understand some people will have difficulty keeping up their hygiene, and because I mean they're so depressed, they just don't have the motivation or energy to do anything. They're just so stuck in their feelings of gloom and hopelessness and that kind of thing. So, but fortunately, I mean my depression can be pretty severe. Most of the time, it's situational. I had a breakup several years ago with my daughter's mother, which was devastating to me. So, it's been years now, and I'm still not totally over it. So that's where my depression comes from. It's less of a, chemical imbalance thing for me than, I mean, there's that component, I'm sure, but for the most part, it's situational. So what I've done is I read an article that goes into explaining bipolar disorder. So I'm going to put that in the description, and that's what I would like to do. Try to make a daily a video each day, and if not that, every few days or something, or once a week. It just depends. And what I want to do is find articles on bipolar, just for information for people that are curious, that either have bipolar or have a friend or family member that has it, for a better understanding of what it means and treatment, and maybe how someone can be a better support to someone with bipolar disorder. Because there's times when people like myself, and I'm sure a lot of people with bipolar, need support and need interaction. I mean, one of the most important things for me, especially with depression, is to interact with people and keep up. Fortunately, I have some really good supports in my life. Some people don't have that, but my family and friends are all aware of my bipolar disorder. I don't, I'm pretty open about it. Some people, and I understand this, want to be private about it. Like, for instance, say if I was working a job, I'm on disability, but if I was at a job, I wouldn't necessarily want everybody to know that I had it. I mean, I guess I'm at a point where, I'd probably be even open about it with coworkers because I would rather people understand, um, you know, understand myself and others with it than be ignorant to it and not get it. So I think if I had a coworker or coworkers that saw that, the majority of the time I'm just like them, as far as, being sane, um, when I'm having symptoms of, obviously things aren't the same as everybody else, but it's just a part of my life. That's what I live with every day, and I most of the time I'm well. As if I'm taking my medication and getting therapy, I do just as well as anybody else. And I think some people might be under the impression that someone with a mental illness is just out of their mind all the time, and that's just simply not the case. I mean, the vast majority of people that I've ever met with any type of mental illness are just as normal as anybody else. I mean, just the only times they're different is when they have an episode. So, and episodes aren't that frequent, especially when you're taking a medication, and therapy of course helps, but also just having supports. I mean, that's probably one of the biggest things is having a network of people that you can count on that are there for you when you need it, for rough times. And just, in general in life, everybody needs human contact. I'm no different, neither is anybody else with a mental disorder or anybody who doesn't have one. Everybody needs that human interaction. So I do better when I'm socializing and getting out and not isolating. In fact, I don't like to isolate. Some people might want to isolate. That might happen sometimes with me, but it's pretty rare if it does, at all. I mean, usually I'd rather be anywhere but my apartment. I don't have a car, so I'm kind of limited. I do live in a town that has a bus route, so I can get on the bus and I take my bike, and they have a bike rack on the bus, so I'll get on the bus sometimes and go downtown into the neighboring town that it's a college town, so seems like there's always things to do, and so I do try to get out and do things. But so this article anyway, I wanted to post links to these articles in the description. It goes into descriptions of bipolar and treatment for bipolar. So it describes the symptoms, and just different kinds, what kind of meds are used, like mood stabilizers and antidepressants. One thing I've learned is that someone that is bipolar that is given only an antidepressant, that has a bad effect. It can cause someone to go into mania if they're only taking an antidepressant, which it sounds like is something you don't want to do. Mood stabilizer is important if a person is bipolar, just to keep them level. And there's different meds. Like for me, I take Lamictal and Latuda, and Lamictal is also used to treat. It's an anticonvulsant too, which to treat epilepsy. So so I just take those two medications, and they've helped me. And over the years, I've probably been on 12 or 15 different medications over the years. So it's changed, and I think over time some of them lose their potency and effectiveness. So sometimes there needs to be a med adjustment, and they'll have to switch you to a different type of medication. But I've been really lucky in that I haven't had bad side effects. There's only been a few times, maybe 2 or 3, that I've had any kind of problems with meds. When I was 17, I was on Haldol, and that's an older medication, and it would kind of make me march in place. That's what it would do. That was the side effect. It was a common side effect, and there was a medicine that went with it called Cogentin, which was to counteract the side effects. So Haldol was the first medication I was on, and then later on, years later, like in 2006, I think it was somewhere in there, I was on Seroquel, and Seroquel is a good med. I think they use it to treat schizophrenia too. I liked it because it helped me sleep, but I had a reaction to it which would make my head move involuntarily up and down and left and right, and I couldn't control it. So they had to take me off Seroquel, which is unfortunate because it helped me sleep. I really liked it for that reason. But the side effects were just too, who wants to have that? Involuntary head movements? I mean, nobody. But it was, so it's something they needed to take me off of. But overall, I've handled side effects pretty well. I have had limited side effects. They're pretty rare for me. Some people seem to be very sensitive and have a hard time finding the right medicine or combination of meds that work well for them without sensitivity. I knew someone that seemed to have a sensitivity to meds. So, but for me, it's I've been really lucky, and it's worked out pretty well. The medications I'm on now are working well for me, so I'm doing all right with that. So I'll put the link to the article in the description, and that's what I plan on doing in these videos is reading an article and then putting the links to the articles in the description, and kind of in the videos kind of going over generally what the article is about, and then if you would like, you can read in more detail about the article. And I hope this will help people with bipolar or other mental illnesses, and people, with family or friends with bipolar, get a better understanding and learn about the disorder, and treatments, and things that just learn about the treatments, and maybe some new research. Hopefully I can find articles about new research coming out that are helping to work toward better treatments of bipolar and that kind of thing. So I hope that these videos are at least somewhat informative, and of course the articles will go more in depth than what I'm able to do. I'm just basically going to try to summarize what the article is, and if you want to really get into it and really understand and know more about it, then it's best to read the article. So that's all, and I'll keep at it with the videos, and like I said, I hope this helps some people have a better understanding and know how to support people with bipolar, how to support them better and be a help to them when they need it. So, okay, that's it.